More than 10 commercial vehicles were allegedly attacked by armed robbers while passengers on board the vehicles were robbed of their valuables Thursday night on the main Dodowa-Somenya Road in the Shire-Osudoku district of the Greater Accra region. The suspected armed robbers mounted a roadblock near Gomeda Lowo Junction at around 9 p.m. in an operation believed to have lasted well over 45 minutes. Yes, a victim narrating the incident to Joy News.
I was coming from Osuwin, so we passed through Luo, and between Dodowa and Agomeda and Somenya Road, there is a junction there, Luo Junction. So we branched towards Agomeda. So upon reaching, there is a sharp curve there. Upon reaching the curve, we realized that 3 vehicles were parked in front of us. Then, before we say Jack, we saw a guy in a max. Then he pointed a gun at us and fired one. So my motor rider quickly drove onto him and then he ran into the bush. So we decided to quickly turn ourselves and then escape. Unfortunately, one of our guys fell off the motorbike. That is we were using a motor king. So one of our guys fell off the motorbike. So the 2 of us have to escape. So we managed to escape. Unfortunately, when we escaped, there were 2 other vehicles, and one saloon car and then 1 passenger car. We tried to stop the 2 vehicles, they didn't stop. And then they also drove in and then they stopped them. But for the commercial vehicle, that is the Sprinter, they shot into they gave a warning shot. The driver had to park, and then most of the passengers had to run into the bush. A few of them were got hold of, and then I think they took most of their belongings. So we also made the call to the police, and then a few friends of ours who then later 2 policemen came, and then another police officer also came to join them. But unfortunately, the armed robbers ran into the bush. So we can't trace them now. I was told they are 4. I saw 1 before we escaped. So when I came back to the scene, after the police came and I followed the police to the scene, I saw my brother who fell off. I met him and he told me they were 3 and they were 4. They were all in max.
Okay, so what is your brother's condition as you speak?
By the grace of God, he is fine. He said he was hit with sticks and he was kicked on the floor. Those were the things but he had some bruises on his hand and then his cheek. He had some bruises there.
So how about the other passengers on board the Sprinter?
Yes, they said their belongings were taken and then some of them were also beaten severely. But nobody sustained any gun wounds.
Driver of one of the commercial vehicles caught up in the incident also shares his ordeal.
I was on the Somenya Road when I saw the roadblock. I tried to reverse, but they started giving warning shots. So I parked my car and fled into the bush. But one of them followed me and caught up with me. I struggled with him, but I was overpowered. After he hit me with a weapon, I'm really hurt.
An International Monetary Fund staff mission has declared that Ghana's economy is showing signs of recovery after almost a month of implementing the support program. This was captured in a statement issued by the IMF after its staff mission, led by Stefan Rodet, visited Ghana from June 8 to June 15, 2023. The visit, according to the IMF, was part of its regulator engagement with Ghanaian authorities and other stakeholders. My colleague, George Wefi, has joined me in the studio with more on this. Good to see you, George.
Hi, good to see you, Aisha.
What more do we know from this IMF meeting?
So this team, when you go into a program with the fund, the staff would always, in time to period, they will come over and do what they call their on-ground assessment of the economy. And recently they did something they call the Article 4 consultation. It's more of doing the assessment of an economy or a member country. They did London, they did USA and all the rest. So it's something that they do. It's interesting that this visit has indeed coincided with Ghana having a program with the fund. So just to get the basis right in terms of why they are here. They came into town on Thursday, that was last week, and they rounded up their engagement that was just yesterday. So what we know more about this thing is that they have made some significant progress in terms of engagement with government. Don't forget, it's not just about engaging government. There were other stakeholders that includes the Finance Committee of Parliament and also some business associations as well on getting different perspective to the IMF program, what are their concerns, implementing this program and all the rest. And for them, they believe that if you look at those indicators in terms of measuring an economy that is turning around, they are seeing the economy turn around. And the critical question or the critical indicator here is signs of stability. Okay. And so we are seeing that the exchange rate is been a little bit stable. You've seen the gyrating or that rise and fall has ceased a little bit. For the past 2 weeks, you've seen the cedi. When you look at the forex bureaus, it's being sold at around 12 Ghana cedis. When you look at the commercial banks, when it comes to transactional rate, between 11.20 to 11.45. If you look at our international reserves, it has gone up significantly. You've seen that the inflation rate, has softened a little bit, even though there has been that marginal pickup. So when they look at some of these critical indicators, they want to link it to us getting the program, and that is why they made that assessment about...
I want to look at the other indicators. We've spoken about the exchange rate, which is very key. What other indicators?
We want to look at the international reserves. Since we got the program, we've seen the IMF support come in. We understand some other donor support is also going to come in. The World Bank has announced that all other things being equal, some $300 million should come in by September this year. We also had other donors, the American government coming on board to support us, some data initiative that are bringing almost about $300 million as well. So if you look at all these indicators, it appears that our reserves has picked up marginally. There's another indicator that they want to look at. If you look at inflation, you've seen that it went down significantly. And the IMF wants to look at Ghana's program starting from when the staff level agreement was reached. So they believe that the stability that we are witnessing right now is as a result of how things started last year, which culminated with us signing the program on May 17th. And they believe that all these things are impacting the economy positively. And that is why when they concluded their normal staff visit to Ghana, they made that assessment that they've seen those signs that shows that the economy is stabilizing. And for two things, what these comments would also mean to these investors out there who are still sitting on the fence before they react. If the economy is showing signs of recovery, does it mean that those practical reforms that government is undertaking, it is going to yield results or not? And so maybe we'll see these investors also acting by coming on board, bringing in those required capital expenditure into the economy, and all those things will happen. But one critical thing, Aisha, you should remember that just like Zambia, a lot of those who are sitting on the fence are looking at, it's not the money. And I think that a lot of us would always want to look at how much has come in, the money has come, and why the economy is not responding that fast. It is more of those quantitative and those fiscal reforms that you are supposed to undertake. Are you progressing on that? When the IMF meets in November 1, that is the staff on Ghana to review the program. That will be our first program review. They'll be looking at those indicators that we should have met by the end of June. And if we pass that test, it's not just about the money. Again, the problem with this economy is about confidence. So if you even pump in about $20 billion into the economy right now, it won't address the immediate problem. People have concerns with how the economy is being managed. Therefore, this is a program that is trying to correct that. So if we make some progress in that area, then that real investor confidence restoration will start. So how will fare in the first review and what the fund will be saying? Because most of these investors, they don't want to trust what government is saying. What is the IMF saying about the economy? They are saying that the economy is showing signs of stability. And therefore, if it's stabilizing, they're going to come on board. These things will also impact on the verdict of those rating agencies and what they're going to do to us in terms of the assessment that they'll give to the bonds issued by government. So what I'm saying is that what they've done indirectly would positively impact the economy.
Is all of this looking positive for our next tranches? I mean, will it...
Our next tranche, all other things being equal, should come in November 1. When the IMF staff conclude the assessment and they present to the board, if it's today, the board approves it, the next day or next 2 days, the money is coming in. But as I tried to highlight earlier on, that it's not just about the money. That staff report, because a lot of people are saying that, listen, we signed a program, I'm not feeling the IMF.
Yep.
Yes, you're not feeling the IMF because the signals hasn't gone out there that we are fast-tracking or making significant progress when it comes to those quantitative indicators and those structural reforms that we need to undertake when it comes to the fiscal space. And that is very, very critical. So when that signal goes out, then you see that recovery being fast-tracked as we were looking forward to. So it will be very critical to look for the staff report that will be ready by November 2 on what the IMF will say based on our first program review. And if you go through the statement, one critical thing that they try to highlight is that reaching an agreement with these external creditors, it's timely and it's important. That could, again, fast-track the recovery and also influence the next disbursement of cash to us. So if we are unable to understand that, well, there have been some challenges with government in terms of trying to reach a deal with these external creditors, including those who are holding the Euro bonds, and even the Labour as well. There are discussions to restructure the cocoa bonds and all those things. So if we don't make progress in that area, the magic wand that we are all looking forward to on what a fund program will bring might delay a little bit. And again, not passing the first review will even be more costly than what we had experienced before we signed up to this program.
So we have no reason not to pass the first review.
In terms of the reform that we should look at when it comes to utility tariffs, when it comes to the improving revenue collections, it's not just about utility tariffs, but again, in terms of the laws, ECG, privatizing revenue collection, they are looking at more structural things that will let the economy withstand the shocks when we are exposed. Some are saying that we were exposed so much to COVID because we couldn't build the buffers that when we were exposed or we hit the shocks, it's exposed that. So that is what this program is trying to do, that implement those reforms, start taking those reforms, pass those laws that will ensure that Bank of Ghana is independent. Bank of Ghana stops financing government operations. So the Bank of Ghana can build enough reserves to save the country for the rainy day. All these things are supposed to be done before the fund will say that you've made some progress when it comes to those structural reforms and we are bringing the money. The money is just an icing on the cake. What those investors out there are looking for is that what steps have you taken to close the loopholes to reform the fiscal situation? And that is what they will react. The other donors who are sitting on the fence, the World Bank, listen, they are also watching closely what will happen to this first review before they advance the over $4 billion to us. Right,
it's something that we'll be looking forward to. George, we are faced with business, Joy Business, and he's been explaining to us. Meanwhile, the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, is expected to address the nation on the state of our economy later today. We'll bring you all of that as and when we get him to speak. But also on the economy, after more than 5 months of exemption, the government has taken a sharp U-turn to include pension funds in the domestic debt treatment. Sources say government is hoping to restructure about $2.7 billion owed to pension funds in a new round of talks. General Secretary of Ghana Federation of Labour, Abraham Kumsin, has told Joy News the association is yet to receive an official proposal from government for a haircut. He spoke to my colleague Isaac Ofieje on Upfront.
We have not been formally or officially invited to any meeting to discuss this thing.
But do you sense that government will eventually call you to come for a haircut?
Oh, we are expecting them to call for that one, because they wanted that meeting, I think at the ending of April. But unfortunately, the technical, team had left for Bogota.
Abraham Kumsin expressed Labour's disappointment with government's flip-flop stance on when to include or exclude from the DDEP.
They are not saying the truth. Today they will say this, another time they say another time. This IMF, what didn't they say? They said, no, IMF, we are not going there today. We are not going. So I don't believe in dealing with liars, people who don't speak the truth. I hate it. They should be truthful. You see, that's a problem that I have with this government. They're always lying. So how do we believe them?
Part 1 was the genesis. Part 2 is captioned Hero to Zero. In Part 2 of A Nation That Begs, we'll tell you how Ghana, Africa's top producer of gold, moved from being a hero in the Eurobond market to begging for debt forgiveness. Here are excerpts.
Fellow Kukudites, we were elected to fix the problems, and I'm glad to report that we are fixing the problems.
This government is under intense pressure to return to the IMF for a bailout in the wake of harsh economic times.
We will not go to the IMF today, we will not go to IMF tomorrow, and we are not going as long as the NPP remains in power.
As my colleague, Deputy Minister said, we are not going to the IMF. Whatever we do, we are not.
If because of political pride and the rest of them we don't want to go, that is a different thing altogether.
Once the government, on our behalf, whether I like it or not, says we are not going to the IMF, then my position changes. Then show us alternative.
The good thing though is that it does show that being an IMF program imposes more discipline. Because this government itself argues that all the way until early 2019 they were doing brilliant. What that means is that they were doing brilliant during the IMF program.
Part 2 of A Nation That Begs airs on Joy News Monday, June 19 at 8:30 p.m. and on Joy FM Super Morning Show at 8:30 a.m. Let's move on to other story. The Soya Value Chain Association Ghana has called on the Legal Committee of Parliament to review the acts governing the appointment of committee members of the Export Control Committee. The association says the Export Control Committee that they advocated for has been hijacked by actors who have no knowledge of the soya bean industry. We'll be bringing you that story shortly. Right now, let's go live and let's get some insights of what's happening. Well, we'll take you live to Newtown right now because residents of Tema Newtown have expressed fears over the sighting of a refinery by Central Oil, which falls directly within the community. The residents say the situation is giving them sleepless nights as they fear they would lose their lives should there be an explosion. Several concerns raised, according to them, have all fallen on deaf ears. Our colleague Elvis Washington is there for us. He joins us live. Elvis, what have you gathered from where you are? Hello, Elvis. What can you report from where you are?
Good morning, Aisha. Well, I'm here at the Tema Newtown Play Joshishi, where scores of residents have actually gathered. All right, so Aisha, I'm here at the Tema Newtown Play Joshishi, where scores of residents are actually gathered to express their concerns over the sighting of a refinery within this neighborhood. Well, from where we are standing, the refinery is just about 5 minutes drive from here, and residents here are saying, should there be an explosion in future, their lives will be at stake. I have with me some of the community members who have been with the Central Oil, who is actually citing the facility within the community to tell us what exactly are their problems, because some of them were actually in this meeting from the onset. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Very good morning to your viewers. I'm Henry Oko Oninku, and then in fact, I have a lot of positions, but then I would want to mention the events planning secretary at the Tema Traditional Council. I think we are all talking about this Central Oil Refinery thing. In fact, the very moment we heard about this very operations or this very production, in fact, some of us, we gathered youth of this very community. For the first foundation they dug, we actually had to go and stop the work because we have seen something before. I think probably 2010, I think 29th March, there was a similar gas explosion in Tema here. That wasn't even a refinery, but there was a gas tanker that's actually dislodging, into another storage in the grounds. And in fact, the incident happened probably, I think, about 20 minutes walk from where the explosion occurred. But even if you stand here, you can still feel the heat. And you know, whenever we are talking about refinery, whenever we are talking about gas explosions, it is very, very dangerous. You heard clearly from the mayor that one thing they took upon themselves is that they make sure the community standard as far as refinery and other, oil-related things are concerned. In fact, they have taken in charge and they have taken consideration of all that. Personally, there was a meeting held at the Tema Traditional Council. I was part of the meeting, and the council was asking them about how safety of the community. And they made it known, the engineers that were present made it known to that they have a community standard as far as this oil refinery thing are concerned. And also this actually one is a modern type. So I proceeded to ask a question that we have seen explosions everywhere. What happens if there's anything of that sort in this very community? It means that all of us are going to be wiped away. And one of them in the meeting was like, how long has the Tema oil refinery has been in existence? And then I told it probably about 50, 60 years now. It says, since the inception of that refinery, there has never been an explosion, which means that...
But I will ask, have you been to this very facility, and based on what you see there, are you convinced that indeed what they are telling you represents the fact?
One thing is that just yesterday I was at the premises of the refinery, and anytime I view it from a very far point. But yesterday I had the opportunity to be there, and the machines and things I saw, I became a bit scared looking at where it is and the community. But in fact, I am not an engineer, the proximity to the community. Like I keep saying, I'm an illiterate when it comes to this engineering thing. So I heard from the mayor earlier that they have already put in place every necessary measures to make sure certain things.
I'll come back to you. But Chairman, your name, sir?
Bashir Ajajete.
All right. From the onset, you were also part of this meeting. And indeed, today your people are actually not happy with this very arrangement. For them, they believe that where the refinery is actually sited, the proximity to the community, should there be an explosion, certainly they are all going to be wiped out. On the 29th of March 2010, there was a similar explosion where, of course, some of you are privy to. What can you tell us? Have you been to this very facility? And are you also convinced that what the community members or the Central people are saying represent the fact?
Okay, from the onset, we were apprehensive about what was going on there. We didn't know. So we got closer to them, and there was a community engagement, and they answered a lot of our questions. They gave us access to their place to see the things they are putting in place, security measures, safety measures, and they said, in anything there's risk. So if you fear the risk, maybe you might as well not do it. But the best thing to do is to put in safety measures that will minimize the risk. So we've been there, and they assured us that they are working with international standards. So we shouldn't be afraid. And also...
have you independently verified?
Yes, they've given the youth opportunity to also come to the refinery so that they can be...
Let me just finish. Honorable, you are the MC for the area. What can you tell us with the concerns being raised?
Well, I think that the main concern is the fact that is the proximity of the refinery to where people live in town. That's the main concern. It just happened that, let me say, when I took office about 2 years ago, with a background in engineering, normally there are some KPIs or things we check. We check EPA, if EPA have given permit. We check fire.
No, because of time, we are time constrained. I mean, what can you tell us specifically? The concerns being raised. What measures are you taking to address the situation?
All right. So, technically speaking, even though it's closed, but technically speaking, they've really followed all the laid down procedures in setting this one up. So, what we need to do is to have a more deeper community engagement with the people, so that we're able to explain in details for them to know that even though it is quite close to the people, but the things they have and the safety standards that they are going to enforce, we shouldn't really expect to have any problem, because we have one refinery already at Tor, which have been there for like almost 60 years, and then we've not have any problem coming from Tor. So we believe strongly in that once they follow the same procedures here, we shouldn't have a problem with the proximity of the refinery.
All right, so Aisha, the MC is actually saying that he's going to enforce enforce the community engagement to ensure that the safety standards are strictly adhered to, so that the community members' fears will be allayed. Elvis Washington from Tema.
So that was Elvis reporting from Tema New Town there, and he's been engaging the DCE, who says they would do more community engagement. Now, Member of Parliament for Dafiama Busia Isa, Dr. Sebastian Sandari, is asking for a thorough investigation into alleged shooting of 2 people by police in the area. The duo, who are known hunters in the enclave, were returning from a night hunting expedition when they ran out of petrol on one of their motorbikes, and they stopped on the shoulders of the road to refuel, only to be bumped into by the police patrol team. Joining us is Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam has more.
According to the medical director of the Upper West Regional Hospital, Dr. Robert Amesia, the victims were brought to the hospital following the gunshot injuries they sustained as a result of shooting.
One was shot in the abdomen, that's the stomach, and then the other one shot on the arm. So they brought them, and then both of them were severely injured to the extent that we had to operate. Both the one that had the shooting in the stomach, and then the one that also had the gunshot wounds on the arm. It's not threatening. The one shot in the abdomen, he had a few of his internal organs injured, but they were repaired during the surgical procedure. So we are still observing him, but because those things were repaired, we just hope that he will do well.
The duo, who claimed to be hunters, were returning from their night hunting expedition when the police patrol team on early Wednesday morning bumped into them. Neither has the police allegedly uttered a word to them, nor has the victims provoked them, but the former opened fire on them and gunned the duo down. One of the victims, 30-year-old Edmond Taboroma, narrating the incident exclusively to Joy News, revealed that they were returning home after a successful hunting night where they killed 3 rats and 8 hedgehogs when the alleged shooting occurred. He said all 3 of them were armed with guns and had stopped on the shoulders of the road at Seripuri to refuel their motorbikes after one of them ran out of petrol.
So ban suti yale ban suti no manga kweli ban bar mache ban karaban.
They started shooting immediately. I was the first to be gunned down. I struggled to get up, but I couldn't. They picked my bag, searched it, and got my 3 rat meat and the hedgehogs. They threw all into the petrol car, he stated.
So Baman ir anen akaka anen len wadenga bag ngataga na balorpo.
He expressed shock and the inhumane attitude shown by the police after they were shot.
So Baman ir anen akaka anen len wadenga bag ngataga na balorpo. They
refused to pick us either to the police station or the hospital. They only went and picked up the bike and ran it away. At least they should have used the rat meat for some light soup for us, but they carelessly move away, only to come and put handcuffs on us here at the hospital. A member of parliament for the Dafima Bure Isa constituency and who is directly related to the victims, Dr. Sebastian Sandare, is not happy with the incident and called for thorough investigation on the issue.
Local hunters hunting for for meat, maybe for survival, because that is what they rely on. Then on your patrol, during the day, it's not even from between 5 and 6, it's daytime. You open fire on them, didn't even bother to check on the people that you open fire, whether they are dead or whatever. I mean, arrest them so that even you can protect their lives first and investigate for whatever reason you have shot them. They ignore them to their fate until they call, their community members to tell them that they had gone hunting and the police came and opened fire on them just by the roadside. I mean, it's something that is unfortunate, and therefore I would call on the police administration. I would call on the regional commander, the regional minister, the IGP, the interior minister who is from this region to go into this matter, because we seek justice. We think that it must be investigated promptly so that we all know the reasons why the police opened fire on hunters.
Accompanying the Dafima Bure Isa legislature was his colleague legislature from the Wawas constituency, Superintendent retired Peter Lanchina Tubu, who also shared same sentiments.
If a policeman should find somebody with a weapon, I don't think that the first thing to do is to fire. No. The first thing to do on sighting somebody with a weapon is not to shoot. And there are rules and regulations governing the use of firearm. Justification for the use of firearm is a training that is so key in bringing out police officers. So I will join the MP in calling for rapid investigation to this matter.
Reporting for VOA News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
The overlord of the Mampuga traditional area and president of the Northeast Regional House of Chiefs, Na Bohago Abdullahi Mahami, has called for the amendment of the Chieftaincy Act of 2008, especially sections that categorize him as paramount chief. According to the overlord, it does not sound to reason that he who has authority to enskin paramount chiefs is himself categorized as a paramount chief in the current Chieftaincy Act. He is therefore calling upon the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, the National House of Chiefs, the Attorney General, and the Parliament of Ghana to take steps to amend the Act to place the Nairi skin in its proper category.
Lord made the request whilst addressing members of the Regional House of Chiefs on the occasion of the first general meeting of the House for the year held in the regional capital at Nalirgu. Also present at the meeting were members of the Regional Security Council as well as senior members of the Nairi Royal Court. In a statement read on his behalf by the traditional registrar, the overlord, among other key highlights, called for the amendment of the current Chieftaincy Act to put the Nairi skin in its proper class. According to Nabohaga I, the chieftaincy institution has been relevant and forever shall be relevant for the development of the country. However, as a means of ensuring the security of their customs, traditions, and cultural heritage, the overlord said there was a need to translate the original and real identities of chiefs into our law and instruments.
It is for this reason that I call on the relevant stakeholders, that is the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, the National House of Chiefs, the Attorney General Department, and the Parliament of Ghana to take steps to amend the current Chieftaincy Act of 2008, Act 759, especially sections that categorizes the chiefs to place the Nairi skin at its proper category. It does not sound to reason that the Nairi now has the authority to enskin paramount chiefs. He is himself categorized as a paramount chief in the current Chieftaincy Act.
Touching on the recent conflict in Lukula, the overlord reiterated his call for calm by all citizenry in the Savannah and Northeast regions. The violence that erupted on June 1st led to at least one killed and several properties destroyed after alleged armed Gunja men overran the community. The overlord, in a reconciliatory tone,
condemned the violence as unfortunate, uncalled for, and a scar on the long-standing peaceful relationship that had existed between the Gonjas and Mamprosis.
I have since issued a statement indicating my resolve to work with my brother, the Abdullah, to find lasting solution to the dispute. I however urge the law enforcement agencies to work to bring the perpetrators of these untoward events to book. The government is also implored to put in more effort in demarcating the land boundaries to ensure lasting peace in the affected communities, since the conflict was largely caused by land disagreement.
The House of Chiefs President also bemoaned the negative impact of deforestation and illegal logging on the lives and livelihood of the people and called for the protection of the forest cover.
The government's Green Ghana program is timely, beneficial, and life-saving. I will encourage you all to participate fully in the program and make it all year-round lifestyle. I will further encourage Nigeria to put in stringent measures in their various communities to deal with recalcitrant individuals who will destroy the forest cover and degrade the environment. In this direction, the government is also called to make alternative sources of energy for domestic use, such as LPG, affordable and accessible, so as to minimize the pressure on the domestic use of firewood and charcoal.
In a speech read on his behalf by the Regional Coordinating Director, Musa Chimsi, the Regional Minister, Yidana Zakari, called on the chiefs to continue to preserve the peace of the region to attract investors and development partners. On the violence in Lukula, the Regional Minister said efforts were ongoing to bring lasting peace and harmony among the people in the area.
The next step will be that on the 22nd of this month, we have extended an invitation to our overlords, that is the two overlords, that's Savannah and of East region, to join us in a meeting at Tamale, where important issues will be discussed. This is because we rely on you, and we are aware that it is you who would help us to solve this problem once and for all.
Ilyas Sotanko reporting for Joy News.
We're happy that government has heard our pleas and have begun fixing the potholes that the reaction of road users and residents at Tribler and Fertilizer Towns in the Jokuku constituency to the construction of roads there. 3 weeks ago, they embarked on a massive demonstration demanding better roads, claiming the bad roads riddled with potholes were adversely affecting their productivity as they spend most of their monies buying vehicle parts to fix damage caused by the effect of using the deplorable roads. The Roads and Highways Ministry indicated on their Twitter handles that they have started work on the stretch. Hanodame was there to check on this development, spoke to some drivers and residents.
This entire area you see here was riddled with potholes. The contractors came on site 3 days ago and see what they've done. I doubt it will last. We asked them to use quality materials so that the road will last long.
We want the government to do better road for us. And now we stop doing the Dakota road. Now we are doing asphalt. But we want the quality asphalt, not quantity asphalt, but quality asphalt. Why? Because if we don't do the quality asphalt, maybe I can say 6 months, 7 months, we'll see potholes in the road. And we waste our money, our materials, and our everything. You can feed the potholes for me and leave and go. We want asphalt. So we beg the government to do asphalt for us. If you do feed the potholes, you don't do anything. Your work done zero. Do the asphalt, correct asphalt.
But I'm saying 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I started to say demonstration, and I started to say
omo ye bia man by majority langasa omo ye ntie se won se na omo ye no se omo ye man omo ye no fast man say en cars no isa wo so kan nyama no so yen easy wo cars ni ni asese.
We've realized that after our demonstration they've started fixing the roads, that they speed up the work because the bad roads are destroying our vehicles, and our car owners are also fighting with us.
Inti ebre e maka una sin drivers no ne nkontokwa rough obetu ba say o meye ba o be 2 weeks 3 weeks no o meja inti say o meye me o mguso o meye no o meye man wie mo abaso enso be ende e be da wan.
Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is expected to pick nomination forms at the NPP headquarters this morning to contest for the upcoming NPP presidential hopeful contest. My colleague Samuel Mbura is at the NPP headquarters. He joins us with more. Samuel, has he picked the nomination yet?
Yeah, the Vice President hasn't arrived at the party headquarters to file his nomination, but at the moment, we have force of supporters and delegates coming from all parts of the country. I saw them coming down from their bases to support him. We also have various groupings and fan clubs of Bawumia. We have a whole lot of them coming to support him. So if you come to the NPP headquarters here, the roads, or some of the roads have been blocked, and the atmosphere is actually a charged one because the people are jubilating around, and they say he's the right person to lead the party and break the eight. A reason they have come out in their numbers to support the vice president. So we are still waiting for him to arrive with his entourage to file the nomination. I just contacted the team briefly, and I'm told they'll be here in the next 30 minutes.
All right, Samuel Mbura is our man at the NPP headquarters. We'll definitely bring you more from the NPP headquarters when Dr. Bawumia finally arrives to pick his nomination to contest in the presidential hopeful contest of the NPP. Let's take it when Dr. Bawumia finally arrives to pick his nomination to contest in the presidential hopeful contest of the NPP. Let's take it.